Doom cha doom doom cha doom doom cha doom doom.
Because if the client's audio is as bad as having echoes or there's too many people speaking in that room, you yourselves have problem trying to listen to this audio.
This is the first time in the last 90 years since we started measuring audio that anyone has managed to measure sound quality on real live active signals.
So when using non-recommended microphone and headset, that can also mean that you're going to be approved if the headset and microphones are providing a good sound quality. Some of the interpreters that I worked with would say, oh, but I bought gaming headsets. They were expensive, and you tell me that the sound is not good. Common misconception regarding the gaming headsets is that
noise cancelling applications such as Crisp, which I also used before, would you recommend using them, and what are the pros and cons? And Richard, the very last one for you. Where can we buy your voice? eBay?
maybe
It's
Amazon.
funny.
Hello and welcome to another Interpreter Q&A session. My name is Vladimir and I'm engagement specialist and e-learning specialist here at Interprify. And you've probably seen me already on some of the videos. If not, nice to meet you. Happy to see you and host you today here on our platform. Now you are joining us as speakers. So you're on another side of the coin and you will have that experience to see how it looks like to be in their shoes as well. So what we're going to talk about is the sound quality, how we can improve on our side, what can you do to further improve your sound quality? But also we will talk about what Interprify can do and what Interprify is doing for you to get better input feed and preserve your hearing, of course. So today we have three presenters with me. They're my dear colleagues. First one is Carl, and Carl can say hello to us if he's here. Here we go. Hey, Carl. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Carl will speak about some real world examples, and he has a lot of practical knowledge and experience. So he'll be sharing some very, very interesting examples from his rich experience. Next one, we have our senior product manager, Richard Schiller. He will enter to tell us a little bit more about some updates that we're preparing and what our platform is doing to improve the input sound quality. Hello, Richard.
Hi, everybody. Very honored to be with you today.
As usual, he's very eager to help us here with all of our Q&A sessions. And we have Christina, our senior training specialist. She will also help us showcase some of the things and provide us with some great tips how to get the most of your sound. Carl, you can share your part so we can easily start with you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to quickly share a bit of a presentation here, and this is all about audio quality. So as everyone knows, audio quality is the important thing when we are busy in our production. Of course, what we send to you is as important as what we send to our clients. When we have incorrect or poor audio quality from the floor, or like what we call the floor, they'll be from on-site or from online participants, it is very difficult for interpreters to listen and accurately message or accurately deliver the message that the client wishes to display. Right? So as a project manager, usually my main focus is to provide you with a very good, decent sounding quality. And of course, we try to send the same audio back to our clients. Now, through all these different events that I have attended and managed, there are a few things that could go wrong. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about press conferences. Now, we have done quite a few press conferences, mostly in sports. A few to mention will be like the Rugby World Cup and just recently the Euro Cup. So when we're busy setting up on site, we stress as much as possible to the on-site AV technicians. We test beforehand. But as you all know, when we do go in live production, we can't always control how coaches, players, even presenters speak into the mic. Sometimes their position on their mic makes it very difficult for interpreters to hear what they are saying. And of course, in some of the cases, we have audience who adds to that interference. Now, we do as much as possible with our preparation. And while I was on the Euro Cup, we noticed, I would like to say, a bit of issues with the interpreter's audio. This was mainly got to do with wrong positioning of the microphone. So they have the microphone a bit close to their mouths, a little bit far from their mouths, and so forth. And this, of course, now creates a poor positioning, poor shielding, allowing breath and background noises to become distracting and interrupts clarity of your audio as interpreters. Now, with regards to the Eurocup, you're not only your audio is not only being listened to by the coaches and the media in the room itself, it's actually being pushed to the broadcasters. So your voice or your audio is going to be used for live TV. So this means that we need to try to simulate as close as possible to studio qualities. Of course, nobody ever expects anybody who's working remote in their houses and such to have perfect studio quality. However, we should try to strive to get as close as possible to these type of things. Sometimes the house has a lot of echoes, and we call this reverb issues. And it does come from the RSI sphere, let's call it. There's a lot of factors that might impact this situation or this challenge, and this would be very hard surfaces, the room is too big, or you don't have carpeting, let's say. This of course reflects, and it creates a very distorted type of sound. One can think maybe it's more like you're in a hall. So now once we try to adapt this type of audio to a broadcaster, to adapt it to TV, this becomes very challenging for us to provide this very good quality audio, what they are looking for. We did go over mic placement, and of course we have our great RS, our remote support that is always testing beforehand and will advise the interpreters beforehand how they should have their mics positioned to their mouths. Some of you have worked on our platform. You would remember, can you please speak a bit louder? Can you please move the mic a bit closer? And so forth. This is just to improve the quality of audio that we are sending to our clients. Now, when we are busy going through these tests, one needs to, and this is something that as an interpreter you should take into consideration, is what kind of acoustics are we working within? What kind of rooms are we working within? Is it a big room, small room? And all this actually affects your performance as an interpreter. And the client at the end result will battle to understand what is trying to be said to them due to the fact that maybe you have an echo or something in that regards. And we also must remember that we do manage expectations. When we first encounter our clients, we do manage the expectation. Clients are aware that this is a remote interpretation. So they are aware of it, but as everybody knows, a client will always push for as good as possible. So to help them or to help us reach these goals, there are a few things that we can do on your side. You can see now two examples of this. One is a mic shield. Now, this is a very inexpensive device, and you can find it on eBay or in local online stores. And this just attaches to your desk. You can just have it around your desk, around your laptop, or this one here on the left that attaches to your microphone. Now, what this does is it absorbs the your vocals, so it doesn't bounce off any hard surfaces. And this now obviously improves your reverb of how your voice sounds. It improves the quality of your voice. And this, of course, now improves the whole performance. Now, the one on the right is a bit extreme. Now, we always love to kind of have the best, and this now is, of course, the best. This is an isolated sound booth. Now, a lot of them come with different tables, different styles, but in general, it's just there to absorb the sound of your voice. So the microphone is only picking up what you're saying and not maybe the echo of your voice, thus improving your sound quality. And of course, if your sound quality is improved, your performance is improved. The next one is it's a little bit funny, but I wanted to illustrate this one here. This is as well as a sound booth. But this one here is 100% portable. Now it packs up in a little bag, as you can see. They of course will never replace a real sound booth, but it actually it will help the performance of your audio. And of course, you can see that it's just a little box. You can put a table in there and so forth. These type of products are a bit on the extreme side of things. Most rooms, if you have now soundproofed it well with a nice carpet, some curtains, and a bit of paintings on the wall, does improve things as well. So this just helps not to spend a lot of money trying to soundproof your house or your room, and just have a little small area that will then of course help with the reverb. Now this here is a bit of pitfalls that I've experienced on site. Poor microphone setup. Now this now describes on-site technology as well, and it does actually affect the whole performance of the show. So you could have interpreted perfectly, but if your audio is, let's say, subpar, or there is an echo, that message doesn't get across to the client, and all the client can hear is this, let's say, echo. So this is a pitfall that we see on both ends, from the client and from the interpreter side. Because if the client's audio is as bad as having echoes, or there's too many people speaking in that room, you yourselves have problem trying to listen to this audio. As project managers, we tackle this quite aggressively. We'd even stop a show to try and see if we can't rectify this, because then the message is lost. Ignoring room acoustics, this year has dampened many performance in my life, where we have done a brilliant show, and due to the fact that there was a slight echo, we can't use that audio on TV. So now we lose that whole track. And of course, the clients then are not happy. And they judge the interpreter on this as well. They'll say this interpreter's quality wasn't very good, where of course your quality was perfect, but the audio wasn't perfect. So they associate audio with quality. They shouldn't, and we try to explain this is not the case, but humans usually do this. Right. So this is something to take in consideration when you're performing on your event, that clients are judging you as well on the quality of audio. Testing. On site, when we are on site and we're testing the on-site equipment, we might test maybe 50 times just to make sure that the audio is correct. And if anyone here has ever worked on these type of press conferences and these type of things, it can be very annoying for RS to keep coming back to you. Can you please unmute? Can you please speak? And this is just to make sure that all the stakeholders are receiving your audio and they give their approval. If there is anything wrong, they would flag it at that point, and then now we will have time to help fix or just troubleshoot the issues. So when RS opens up and asks you to test maybe 10 times, it is not them, it's usually me asking for this. Now, as you can see, interpreter errors. Now, I brought this up with clients, and this is why I added this section here. This shows that we actually present this to the client. This might be an AV company, might be let's say, a team, a football team, but we try to stress and show them that poor quality leads to errors in interpretation. Now, if I'm saying this, one can then assume that the other way around is correct. So if your audio quality is not very good, the client would actually see your interpretation as an issue. So overall experience for the client would be, wow, this interpreter was not very good, even though that we know you're brilliant, but the audio just didn't come through to them correctly. I would like to mention here, it's not always about audio. It could even be internet connection that causes these slight issues. So that's why we always stress to have your internet tested, to have a hard line connected, an Ethernet connected to your laptop. And this is why RS is always asking, what kind of connection do you have? And so forth. A lot of you might have even experienced us asking you to do a speed test. This is just to make sure that your internet is functioning as it should function. And before the event begins, we know how to migrate or to manage these type of issues. Now, I'm not going to go into any more detail about audio at this stage, but more down the sense of performance. So performance is one thing. One needs to always make sure when you are busy interpreting that your mic is in the right position, that you're not maybe too close to your microphone, that you're maybe booming the microphone a little bit. And that's why it's important to always monitor the remote support, because they're there to be your ears. So they will immediately give you a bit of feedback.
Perfect.
So thank you for listening to me and audio quality.
I think it was important for them to understand that sometimes the client would not be satisfied, as you said. They think it's interpreter's fault, but actually it's not the interpreter's fault. It's because the interpreter got the bad input and then they could not perform at their best. So it was important for interpreters to hear this side of the story as well, because I'm not sure how often they can hear what the end user, the client, complains about. Thank you so much, Carl, for sharing all of these interesting points from your experience. Now we are going to continue with Richard Schiller. He's our senior product manager, and he'll talk about what our platform is trying to do so that you interpreters can get better input quality, especially in occasions when the microphone quality of the speaker is very poor and other problems that you're experiencing when you're getting the input feed.
Yeah, hi again, everybody. And we're talking about audio quality like my favorite subject, so it's a great session today for me anyway. We really focus on audio quality in our products, and what we do, for example, is we use the very highest quality of carriage of the signal from one node to another within the platform. We add features which I'll come to in a minute and explain that optimize the audio quality, make it as good as we can. And of course we have people like Remote Support who are there to help you and deal with audio issues and do what we can to improve the speakers to get the sound coming into you as good as possible, and also to help you, of course, if you need it. So yes, some things that we do in our platform. We've got the clarifier, which is live on the platform that you're using now, so you can turn it on if you want to. We're at version 2 of the clarifier, and this is there to help improve the quality of speech when you're listening. So particularly it's trying to make up for things like microphones which are not the very best quality. Fundamentally though, what we should be dealing with is a fairly noise-free signal. If there's noise in the signal, then that's going to be a challenge for anyone, for any kind of recovery. So we work on the basis that we've got a essentially noise-free signal, and so therefore that's one of the key things you should be looking for when you're setting up. You should be in a place where there's no noise. Now, I don't think I have to tell you that. You all know that. We've also got something coming along called Qualifier, and I'll show you that in a minute. That's going to be coming to us in a few months' time, and it's very exciting. No, we'll talk about that in a minute. One of the things that I'd like to just take you through, an easy test that you can do of your own sound system, is to use one of these, which is the cheapest piece of audio test gear I've ever bought, and it's a dog clicker. You will have these on sale in the pet shops in your own countries. So you press this, it makes a click, and the dog comes back. We'll see if you can hear the sound. The interesting thing about dog clickers is that they are about the same loudness as a human voice at its loudest. So the great thing is if you connect your microphone up to one of the audio editing packages, the sort where you can see a waveform, if you put the dog clicker where your mouth is going to be, if you then click, if the waveform that you see on your audio editor clips, if it goes as large as the space that's allowed for it in the digital domain, then that means that your voice will be able to clip when you speak loudly. So you are going to have a problem with clipping if you're speaking loudly. So I can shout louder than one of these. I have a very loud voice, in fact. I can shout really loud. But a normal shout, if you like, one where you're not really putting your whole effort in, is about as loud as this gets during the middle of the click. The reason this doesn't sound as loud as a human shout is because it's a very short burst of sound. And volume not only depends on how big the audio is, but also how long it is. Okay. So that's one test that you can do for yourself to make sure that your audio levels are set up. So that's for those people who've got a preamp gain control on their microphone. So if you're using something like, a Focusrite box or something like that. I now want to take you through next slide, this mnemonic that I've come up with, Splendid, as a way of remembering all the things to do with audio. And I have to sort of apologise because there's quite a lot of them here, but this is everything. This does cover everything. I'm not going to take you through it. You'll be able to see this. We'll give you a copy. Essentially, it's to do with selecting the right microphone, being in the right position for that microphone, which Carl was mentioning. It is so important. It makes such a difference. That's what we call microphone technique. Getting the level right, and the dog clicker that I just talked about, that's an example of how you can set the levels. Echo. Carl talks so much about this, being in a room without too much reverberation. Unfortunately, this room isn't terribly good. I am treating my room downstairs, so I should have used that one actually today. It's only half finished, but it's beginning to sound really good. It's got sound treatment on all of the walls now. Noise, eliminating the electrical noise. So that's basically using good equipment again. Dynamics. One of the things about high quality audio is it's not just the equipment, it's also you, and you're aware of this, I'm absolutely sure. A lot of these things are going to be much more relevant to the speakers than they are to yourselves. You get these right most of the time, but the speakers, we need to remind them of this stuff. Interference, which is, that thing of background noise, the dogs barking, the children crying, the traffic outside, and so on. And then making sure that you're distinct, that you've got clear pronunciation. All of these things are necessary for someone to be able to comprehend what it is you're saying as easily as possible. So on to my last slide, and very quickly then, qualifier. I haven't got an active demonstration today, but we'll be showing you this very soon. This is what a qualifier Q meter looks like. The Q value is scaled from 0 to 6, and this is the first time in the last 90 years since we started measuring audio that anyone has managed to measure sound quality on real live active signals rather than using test signals. And 0 is bad quality, 6 is the highest quality, and we'll be adding this to the speakers user interface soon, so that speakers, while they talk, will be able to see how good their audio quality is. This is way more important than audio level, and we're used to level meters. We've had them forever, but really they're fairly meaningless. They're just telling us the voltage. That's not going to, improve the sound unless you're getting it terribly wrong. This will actually tell you the sound quality, and it will mean that if you've got a poor microphone or a noisy room or an echoey room, then you will get a poor score. But also, if you're, for example, in the wrong position, you're not in the right place for your microphone, you're not speaking clearly, you're not enunciating well, these things will all affect the score. So some of these things are difficult to do anything about while you're in the middle of a speaking session, but some of them you can change while you're speaking. And hopefully this will lead to an improvement. When people know what their quality is, then they can work on it and change it and improve it. And that's it from me. Thank you very much, and I'll pass you on to Christina.
Christina, thank you so much, Richard. Highly appreciated. So as you can see, this is going to be on the speaker side, and they will have insight in how good their sound quality is. Let's see what kind of improvements will that bring to interpreters, but we hope it will make a certain difference for you. Chris, it's your time.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're all very excited about the qualifier. And in general, we hope that this is going to help overall sound quality as well, when the speaker actually can see what is the rating of their own sound quality, meaning that it's going to be easier for you as interpreters to interpret the speech from the floor. Of course, this is going to be an option, if I'm not mistaken, that is going to be integrated into our platform. So the speaker should use our platform to get the best of the features that we are having. But regarding the tone controls and the clarifier itself, this is something that we did release early this year. And so far, it was something that helped interpreters in case that you guys have event where the sound quality of the speaker is not as great. It really can make a difference. So in case that you didn't use it, or maybe you forgot about the feature, feel free to use it during the events if it happens that the speaker sound quality is not that great. So it also affects your sound quality. Because what often happens is that interpreters who are working on the events, when speaker sound quality is not that great, you tend to boost up the volume of your headset to a maximum level. In most case scenarios, on most headsets that you buy, then in that case, that means that the sound will leak from the headphones into your microphone, making your sound bad as a result of it. So honestly, most common issue regarding the sound usually is an echo that or the room itself is too empty. So maybe putting a duvet on the wall could dampen the sound a little bit. So if you're working from a very big room that is mostly empty, in that case, that can help. I heard the story, never tested it though, that you can put a very big laundry basket in the room that you're interpreting from, and that's also going to dampen the sound. So don't don't keep me on my word here. This is just something that I heard, never tested, but it can be something that can help with the acoustics of the room itself. I have very big shelves filled with books. Before that, the sound was echoey a little bit because this room is bigger. Also, I have a very thick curtains that helped out dampen the sound. Regarding the sound itself, this is not for dampening the sound, but a funny story is that one of our employees, who is also freelance interpreter, she actually puts a sticker on the doorbell saying "baby sleeping, do not ring." So while she is at the assignments, nobody is actually going to knock on her door or ring a bell. So if you're expecting a package, then most likely they're going to leave the package in front of your doors, which I thought that it was brilliant as a way to stop people from creating a noise that you cannot control, right? We do during the trainings. I trained some of you, maybe you do remember me from the trainings. We do during the trainings share best practices, and it is part of the All About Interprefy course. What are the technical requirements? What is our recommendation for the headset, for the microphone, to get your sound to a higher level? The actual recommendation, the list of recommended headset, this is something that we pulled up based on the data. Data, what interpreters use the most, what is the feedback regarding the headset, and also we tested in-house the same equipment. Of course, even if you buy recommended headset or recommended tabletop microphone, that doesn't mean that you're magically going to have a perfect sound. If, for example, you like to listen to the sound super loud and you also like to remove one headphone off the actual ear, that will worsen the sound quality. That means that you most likely will have an echo in your own voice. So in general, there is also a proper way to use the equipment. If you're a person who likes to wear only one headphone, buy mono headsets. That is the best version that you can get for yourself, because at the end of the day, your equipment is supposed to serve you. You're not supposed to serve your equipment. So if something doesn't work, there is usually always a variation that can work for you better.
Chris, sorry, I
Go
will
ahead.
paste this knowledge base article that we have here about all the requirements and some of the recommended headsets and microphones
would
that
be
we
amazing.
found suitable for our remote support interpreting tasks. But I wanted to ask you, outside of that, what happens if the interpreters buy some other, still needs to be USB headset or a microphone? Can they use something that is outside of that list that
Oh,
I'm
of
going to post
course.
now?
No, of course. The list is just a guidance. In case that you already have the equipment that worked well for you throughout the years, and it is a professional equipment that we're talking about, of course, Then in that case, during the actual training, we do sound checks, we do troubleshoot the sound, and if the sound is good, if you sound great, then in that case, the as you already had experience, maybe with me or with other trainers, you're going to be approved. So it doesn't actually necessarily mean that you will need the headset from the list itself. Just that we are familiar with this headset. We have lots of experience with this headset. We know the ups and downs of it, and we tried to make a list, also keeping in mind your own budget. So some headsets are going to be on more affordable level, and some microphones or headsets are going to be on more expensive level, depending on what you can afford for that moment. We're also very aware that it happens that there are some case scenarios when the event is going to be organized last minute. Maybe your interpreter who never actually worked much in RSI, so you didn't invest into your equipment. So that is also a case scenario that we can see, and we do understand when it is a last minute, you will get what you have or what you can get in the local store in case that you do not have enough time to prepare for your meeting. But everyone who is working regularly as an RSI interpreter should already have equipment and backup equipment, as most of us do. We do have backups for everything. I joke, but it is true. It is a joke that is kind of true that you usually have backup headset, backup equipment, maybe even internet connection. So when using non-recommended microphone and headset, that can also mean that you're going to be approved if the headset and microphones are providing a good sound quality. Now, some of the interpreters that I worked with would say, "Oh, but I bought gaming headsets. They were expensive, and you tell me that the sound is not good." Common misconception regarding the gaming headsets is that they're great for everything, that they're maybe better than professional headsets. That's not completely true. Gaming headsets are great for the sound that you're receiving. So you're maybe going to get clearer sound quality, but for gaming, usually microphones are not that great. Of course, there are some differences between the different brands, but do not think that if you're getting a gaming headset that this is it. This is your professional headset. Keep that in mind, and always just check. Or if you're ordering online, in most cases, you can return the headset. So you can just book an equipment check with us, test the headset. If you don't like them, you already invested money that you don't want to lose. You can always return the headset and get a different one.
I wanted to add here, just we do try constantly to educate our clients through
Oh yeah.
knowledge base articles, through videos. You do the trainings for the hosts and speakers as well. So whenever we get a chance, or when I'm creating some video and when I see a space to insert what they need to use, we have house speaking. Yeah, literally, I try always to push
Yeah.
it where there is a space. We have housekeeping videos that we're playing on certain events. So we do try from our side, but we would also like to hear your suggestions. What do you think? How can we further improve speakers' quality when it comes to the online events?
Yeah, jumping in onto the Vlad's sentence as well. I always like to hear, what do you do for your own sound? Something that maybe generally people wouldn't think of, but it really makes a difference. It's a solution that you can do, especially, for example, for interpreters who are traveling. What do you do when you're working from a different environment? How do you make your sound quality the best possible in the situation where this is not your home office, where you don't have all the equipment that you may be invested into during the renovations of your home office? And my last closing remark regarding the sound: internet connection is also something that is affecting the sound quality. So if the internet connection is weak and you're maybe working on Wi-Fi, in that case, it may also affect your sound quality. You may have the best equipment and a great work office, but please also do check your internet connection. Try not to have million tabs open, and if you have an issue, try to communicate with your internet provider and get them to fix the issue if you have any. All right, that's it for me. Thank you very much for listening to me. And now it's your time to take the floor. So whoever wants to take the floor, please click on the green hand icon.
I got some questions also in the sign up form. One of the question was, maybe Richard, you can just briefly elaborate on that, was noise cancelling applications such as Crisp, which I also used before. Would you recommend using them, and what are the pros and cons?
So yes, Crisp is compatible with Interprify. Of course, it's designed to be usable with conferencing systems generally. I can't comment on whether they'll maintain that, but certainly it has been up to now, and I think other similar systems are designed with the same idea. I would say the thing with Crisp and that type of noise cancelling, they tend to be extremely good when the background noise is allowed, and so they have impressive results then. But there is always a compromise. They cannot do a perfect job, and you will notice that you lose some high frequencies, and the sound will sound a bit duller than it would have done without the need for the processing. You will lose some of the sort of dynamics of the sound, and really the best advice would be that you don't want to be in an environment where you need compensation for loud noises, for loud background noise. And then if the background noise is quiet, so there is background noise but it's only low level, you are probably better off not using such a noise processor, a noise reducer, because the amount that the noise will affect you as a listener is not that great, but the impact of the processing is still there. So yeah,
I can confirm it. Like, I used it for a year, and also in recording some of my videos, and that was my experience. So from my side, I would not recommend it for live interpretation. Definitely, maybe if you're joining some meeting, you can use it, but for live interpretation, I would say no.
Yes,
just exactly. To confirm all of your words. I have another question for you, Richard. Does the qualifier just give an overall mark, or does it also tell me which aspects to improve?
So the meter itself is an overall mark. It's designed to be as simple to use as possible. But we do know something about what the problem is, and we have been using it in pre-call tests with some of our customers, and in that case we actually gave advice. So the speaker would do a pre-call test, and it would then tell them this is what you need to improve to sound better. There is a possibility that we could add that to the live device, but that won't be there on day one. So yes, we do know, but at the moment the first version of it is simply a single number telling you overall quality.
Thank you. To be clear, this is only going to be on the speaker side, not on interpreter's interface.
No, for the moment it's just for the speakers, and I welcome feedback. So do tell me how useful you think it would be for yourselves. We are thinking of making it available, pre-call, so that you can test things out. But I'm worried about for interpreters, if we do this, I don't want to distract. So you give us your feedback and tell us what you think, and we can add it to the interpreter interface if that's what you guys think is the right thing to do.
Maybe it would be a good indicator for interpreters just to know what's their level of the sound quality. So I think they would be curious about it. Yeah, Karsten says I would appreciate it a lot.
Yeah. Right. Well, we certainly can. So we can add it. So yes, keep giving us your feedback, and we'll respond to that. Thank you.
So any feedback, as Richard said, is welcome, definitely. I got a lot of questions about interpreters were saying that they have a good sound quality when they work with Interprify. They were well evaluated, like it was a good feedback from the remote support, but they're not getting the assignments that much, maybe as they did before. So we wanted to explain one more time that Interprify, we have our platform, okay? But the Interprenet is actually who is hiring interpreters. So we do not hire directly. Once the interpreter hires the interpreters, then they send them to us to train you on the platform. So you go through e-learning course, and unfortunately we cannot affect on who is going to be hired. It depends on their demand, on the moment, of course. I just wanted to highlight this one more time because I got 3 or 4 questions about that.
I got some
Interpreter, yes.
questions as well.
Go ahead.
And not just Interprenet, also we collaborate with RWS as well. But any major LSP is a language service provider that we collaborated before, and even the small ones. So we need a mediator, which is a language service provider. So through language service provider or through the client directly, in case that the client already has interpreters in mind. That's how we are receiving the interpreters list. It's not that we are picking interpreters from our own list. Oh, there is a question for Richard before we leave. Richard, which microphone are you using?
I'm a great fan of Rode microphones. They're the Australian company, and they do very good microphones at a very reasonable price. And I speak as someone who at one time used to look after the microphone, which was the most expensive microphone you could buy. So that, I've got a bit of a background. Anyway, so this is a Rode NT1. But most of the Rode microphones are excellent.
I don't have exactly the same model, but it's Rode, so 2 here.
But Richard also has the broadcasting voice, so it is a little bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a question there about separate microphones. I suggest a separate microphone, and I'm not being flippant, but the people who I'd suggest a headset for would be the ones, the people who can't master microphone technique, and if you can't keep your head still, and some people can't, then a headset is the answer. But really, it's really difficult to get a good quality microphone in a headset. So generally, you'll get better performance out of a separate microphone, and that's why that's my choice.
And Richard, the very last one for you. Where can we buy your voice? eBay?
Maybe
it's
Amazon.
funny you don't think of your own voice as particularly remarkable. So thank you very much.
There you go. All right, that would be all. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you in a few months. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.